So today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We're exploring a creature that seems to have completely broken the rules of life and death. It's this tiny little animal that might just hold the secret to, well, biological immortality.
I mean, it's a question we've all wondered about, right? For pretty much all of history, we've thought of life as a one-way street. You're born, you grow up, you get old, and that's it. But what if that wasn't the only way? What if an animal could just hit reset?
Well, meet Turritopsis nutricula. This tiny jellyfish, barely a few millimeters across, holds one of the biggest secrets in the entire animal kingdom. It has this incredible superpower that basically lets it escape death by old age, effectively making it biologically immortal.
So, how in the world does this tiny little creature pull off something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction? Well, it's not about being invincible or anything like that. It's more like it has a biological escape hatch.
You see, for just about every other animal on Earth, the life cycle is a one-way ticket. You start as a juvenile, you grow into a sexually mature adult, and that adult stage, that's the end of the line. There is no going back. It's what biologists call a point of no return.
And that's exactly why this discovery from the 1996 paper we're looking at today was so absolutely stunning. This was the first time scientists had ever seen a multi-celled animal that could grow up, become an adult, and then, when the going gets tough, just decide, you know what, I'm going to be a kid again.
To really get your head around how wild this is, let's just do a quick run-through of how a normal jellyfish life cycle is supposed to work. Okay, so normally you've got the adult jellyfish we all recognize. That's the medusa. It swims around, reproduces, and its little larvae settle on the seafloor and grow into something that looks kind of like a plant. That's the polyp. This polyp colony then starts budding off new baby jellyfish. But here's the key. For that original adult medusa, it's game over. After it reproduces, it dies. End of story.
But Turritopsis nutricula? It doesn't play by those rules. When it's faced with the end, it has that biological escape hatch I mentioned. It can literally hit a reverse button on its life.
And what triggers this? Well, a whole bunch of things. It could be facing starvation, or maybe it gets physically damaged. It could even be something as simple as getting old. When any of these things happen, instead of just dying, this jellyfish kicks off this radical transformation. It's a complete rejuvenation. This diagram, which is straight from the original research, is basically the roadmap for this biological miracle. You can see all the different triggers up at the top: stress, old age, you name it. And they lead the jellyfish down a few different paths, but look closely. They all funnel to the same incredible outcome at the bottom: a total rebirth.
So the first step is this really dramatic regression. Just picture it: the swimming bell, the tentacles, everything that makes it a jellyfish. It all starts to break down and fold in on itself. As you can see in these pictures from the study, it basically turns into this tiny, seemingly lifeless ball of tissue called a cyst.
But from that simple little cyst, something incredible happens. It's a total rebirth. These root-like things called stolons start growing out. And from those, brand new polyps begin to sprout. A genetically identical but biologically young new colony emerges from the remains of what was an old adult. It is, quite literally, born again.
Okay, so that's the what. But what about the how? What in the world is going on at the cellular level that makes this whole biological miracle even possible?
The secret has a really cool name: transdifferentiation. Now, think about it like this. In pretty much all animals, including us, once a cell becomes, say, a muscle cell or a nerve cell, that's its job for life. It's specialized. Transdifferentiation is when one of those specialized adult cells can completely reprogram itself and turn into a totally different kind of cell. It's an absolutely mind-blowing display of cellular flexibility.
So how did the researchers pinpoint this ability? Well, as this diagram shows, they did some really fascinating experiments. They actually took the jellyfish and carefully cut them up, isolating different parts, like just the muscle, or just the stomach, or the outer bell, to see which bits held the key to this transformation.
And the results? They were crystal clear. If you just took a piece of muscle, or just a piece of the stomach, nothing happened. The magic only worked when you had cells from the outer layer of the bell, the exumbrella, combined with cells from the jellyfish's internal canal system. It takes a very specific cocktail of different cell types all working together to pull this reversal off.
And this right here,
This was the smoking gun. The researchers used a special stain that lights up any cell that's replicating its DNA, and in these microscopic images you can clearly see these bright spots right inside fully formed muscle tissue. Those are specialized adult cells suddenly kicking the cell cycle back into gear. These aren't stem cells, these are old cells deciding to become young again. This was transdifferentiation caught in the act.
So, this is more than just a cool biological party trick. This tiny jellyfish forces us to completely rethink some of the most fundamental ideas we have about life itself.
For centuries, we've just assumed that reaching sexual maturity is a one-way door in biology. Well, Turritopsis comes along and just smashes that door right down. It proves that this rule isn't a universal law of nature at all. Development can, in fact, be a two-way street. And let's be really clear about this. This isn't just a rare ability. This makes this jellyfish utterly unique. As far as we know, it is the first and to this day the only animal that can fully revert from being a solitary, sexually mature adult all the way back to its colonial juvenile form. Number 1.
This is so much more than a lizard regrowing its tail. The paper itself calls it a true metamorphosis, but in reverse. The best way to think about it is like a butterfly. After living its life, being able to transform itself back into a caterpillar to start its life all over again. It's that profound.
And that kind of leaves us with this one big, fascinating thought. The very existence of this jellyfish proves that a rule of life we thought was fundamental, that it only moves forward, can actually be broken. And it really makes you wonder, what else is possible out there? What other biological rules are just waiting to be broken?